Good morning, San Giovanni Rotondo. Here's Janet getting coffee this morning. Nice Italian coffee machines. An excellent coffee. Here's our faithful driver, Antonino, who is loading up the bus, putting all the luggage on so we can head to Rome today. Antonino! Hello! They were family farmers and illiterate. He learned the Bible and this faith by coming to daily mass with the family, nightly rosary, and he memorized the Bible stories and all the things that the priest said when they're reading the mass. He memorized all these things because he couldn't read. He used the images in the churches to help tell the Bible story. I've always said that. The images, pictures, statues, icons, they are the gospel of the poor for people who can't read. When he was 5 years old, Padre Pio, Francesco Forgione, 5 years old, he knew he was going to dedicate his life to God, and he started sleeping on the floor with a stone pillow to make sacrifices, even at 5 years old. We're having Mass here in the church where Padre Pio celebrated Mass, and that's his confessional right there, where he heard people's confession. So this is quite special. This is the oldest and the first church where we're having Mass. It has the confessional of Padre Pio, but I went across to the bigger church that was built afterwards where he also celebrated Mass, and that's a beautiful church as well. This is the big modern third church, so to speak, in San Giovanni Rotondo, where they built this for the large amounts of people that were coming. This is where the body of Padre Pio is. We go in the entrance, and we had to wait in line maybe a half an hour, 40 minutes, not too bad. Here we're coming down into the lower level in the grotto and standing in line. Now there's no pictures allowed. I got a few before I got stopped by the photo police. I actually thought we could, and I got these few pictures, but then I found a few others of his incorrupt body on the internet. We're leaving the Church of Padre Pio in the shrine, and we're heading down to our bus to go to Rome.
Hello, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Cooper, Cade, and Seamus. We're at Padre Pio, and we can't wait to see you guys soon. Love you.
God bless you.
Good.
Okay, we have a tradition on all the pilgrimages of Janet and I share a conversion story. So, as you know, Janet and I were not always Catholics. I was born into a Baptist family, and my mom and dad had just moved to Detroit in 1950. They had been in Detroit for a while, actually, and my mom had 12 years of miscarriages. And one day my mom was getting ready to go shopping, and she turned on the radio while she was getting ready to go. And she said she heard a passionate voice, so sincere, strong voice telling her things she had never heard before, that God loved her, but that she had sinned against God and that she was going to go to hell because of her sins. But God loved her so much, he sent his only son Jesus to shed his precious blood on the cross of Calvary and die for her so she could be saved. And my mom said, I never heard anything like that, Steve. I dropped my purse and I dropped my keys on the floor. I fell on my knees and I cried out to God to save me, like that man was saying on the radio. The voice that she heard was the Reverend Billy Graham.
I mean, the knife on the cutting board as I'm cutting the cucumbers. What?
Bible when you need to find it. My mom paid us 50 cents for the Bible verses we memorized. I'm glad she did that, because I grew up knowing many Bible verses and they're still in my head. But I couldn't do that anymore now. My brain is more ossified than it was back then. But I'm sure glad my mom taught me to memorize those Bible verses. We also had to learn this: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st, Samuel, 1st, Kings, 1st, Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Job, Psalm, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. That's the books of the Old Testament. And even if I made a mistake, you wouldn't have known it. But I did make a mistake. And I know Teresa.
Talking about this situation, I think God really wants you to go back into the media. We actually discussed it versus what happened when I took the night shift at my other station, where we didn't discuss it all and I just jumped into it head first. So I got back on Channel 7, which is still a very big station in Detroit, and worked there for many years, and it was really good for a while. I had a wonderful news director. He was a devout Jew, not a Christian but a Jew, but he got the importance of religion in people's lives. In my faith, and this is our next verse, that the Lord will show you some things, and he will call you to understanding him a little bit better in terms of picking up your cross, right? Well, my cross was understanding. We see this in both in Matthew and Mark. My cross was understanding that the media weren't all that they thought they were cracked up to be, because I thought once I got back on the air, everything was going to be great. I was going to convert everybody in the newsroom. Everybody's going to be Catholic. We're all going to be praising Jesus. Well, I started to see all the bias and all the hate for Christianity. And this was back in the late 90s, not even compared to what it is now.
Folks, my story is very, very simple. I don't have a conversion or a reversion. Day one was practicing a Catholic, sometimes against my will, but I remember once, every Sunday morning my dad got ready, and all 7 of us went to Mass together. It was just something we did. One particular Sunday morning, I was slow in getting up. I was a teenager out with my friends the night before. I was in bed, and my brother Richie's got my back. He says, "Franz, better get up, here comes Pop." And Dad sat down at the foot of my bed. He's making his tie. He always wears shirt and tie to Mass. And he said, "Franz, as is usual, we're going to the 10 o'clock Mass, and you're coming with us, dead or alive." And I kind of rolled over with one eye open, one closed, and said, "He's not going to hurt me. He's my dad. Everything I have is indirectly or directly from him. He would never hurt me." But then my guardian angel said to me, "Do you want to risk it, though?" So I got up, we all went to Mass.
We need a fish and a fowl. Then we go to the abbey, to the monastery, and we figured, the Benedictines at least have some order. The first thing that the Dean of Ben tells us, who's a Benedictine monk, that now that there is one rule there, and that is there are no rules. You're expected to act like a Christian gentleman. And we're looking at one another saying, what the heck does that mean? Well, we found out because we started implementing rules because we're all living in community and we're living in open dorms. But it was just a wild time. Once again, were we seminaries or were we just in a high school liberal, in a college liberal arts? So after college seminary, I got out because it looked like nobody knew what a priest was supposed to be.
Here we are crossing the Tiber River, just like the title of my book, and there's the Bridge of the Angels. They all have the implements of the torture of Jesus across, the flagellum, the crown of thorns, and there is the Tiber River. First time we've seen it here when we're arriving on this trip to Rome. Now that we're in Rome, Luca's giving us some last-minute instructions, and here we are parking in front of our hotel with this beautiful view of St. Peter. Here at the Star Hotel's Michelangelo to Rome. Nice rooms. A lot of them have patios, not all of them, I mean verandas. And there is St. Peter's. Look at that, right out our door. Here's our bus. We're loading up to go to dinner now at Benito's. We're going to have a nice dinner with dancing. Here comes our folks now. We love this place because it's right there at the Vatican, 5-minute walk away. Thinly shaved beef with rocket, which is arugula, Parmesan cheese on top of it.
What will be, will be. And when I was just a child in school, I asked my teacher every Thursday morning,
This is the definition of a good evening and a wonderful trip when everybody is just having a blast. Our arrival in Roma. It's always wonderful to come back to Rome. If I got stuck in a city for 6 months, this would be the city I'd be in. Our group is right now in Benito. We like coming here because of the great music and excellent food. And here they all are, and we're going to say goodnight for tonight. We're heading back to the hotel for a busy day tomorrow. Some folks are going home, but the Rome extension carries on for another 3 days.